The honors, i.e. the praises, the glory, belongs to my Lord and Savior. His name is Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Mahavakak Badash. Honors to the apostles that are in the Holy Spirit, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, and to the few, I mean the very, very few brothers and sisters that are listening and learning in the hopes of being saved within these last days, because we are living in the last days of the last days. I'm just grateful to be given another day to be able to minister this word. All right. There's so much on my mind. There's so much on my mind. There's so much on my mind right now. And wow. See, when you apply these scriptures, the things work out on our purpose, man. When we apply it, and that's what we got to do. All we got to do is apply these scriptures. I want to go into prophecy. We're just going to see where the Spirit leads me. And you're going to see the benefit of really, really applying these scriptures to your life. You're really going to see it. It works. You know what I was doing? See, we learn things. I make mistakes. I make mistakes. I'm not floating. See, when you think of a prophet or whatever, you probably think of someone floating on the clouds. We make mistakes. What's acceptable to that? One major thing I've learned is it's beautiful. You want to teach people. That's beautiful. You have a desire to teach people, to spread the love, but then you're gonna realize not everybody believes in what you believe. For some people, it's too much. For some people, this is too much to take. And someone said something this morning. A group of individuals were discussing something, and they said basically, so he was controlling the play all that time. That's what they said. That's what they said. So he was controlling the play all that time. I know what they meant by that. Right? Why? Because I stayed out the way. Because I stayed out the way. See, that's power. When other people are reacting to you and you're not reacting, you just staying calm, you just manage, and they're reacting to you, you're controlling the play. see, but again, not thinking. That's why the scripture says, be sober, be vigilant. When you're sober, you're settled, you're clear thinking. When you're not sober, you're not clear thinking. You're acting erratic. You're moving from here to there. Sometimes you take yourself out of the equation. All right? We're going to go to Matthew's first, right? Oh, man. A lot of the time, sometimes the issue could be us. You could be doing too much. Now I know what brothers mean when they say you're doing too much. Sometimes you could do too much. Sometimes you need to remove yourself and see how things play out. But we learn. This is Matthew 7:6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs. This is holy. So we don't just give this to anyone. Neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Neither cast your pearls before swine. What's a swine? Pig. So we're not casting these pearls to just anyone. We're not doing that. We're giving it to those that are worthy. Because when you're out here, people might just think, well, yeah, he's out here for everyone. No, we're not. We're out here for those that are going to be sincere and get this way, and that's it. Then all your energy is depleted. And it says, Baba Kishar, check this out. Lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Because you get certain people, you teach this word, they're going to trample it under their feet, disregard it, and they're going to render you with the same thing that you taught them. They're going to render you. Right? They're gonna pay you back evil for what you're trying to help them, and they're trying to do you evil. That's why you have to be specific on who you're teaching, who you're trying to get this message out to, which that's all up to Yahushua anyway. But that's why you learn, right? Don't do too much. Obviously, you put yourself out there. That's good because the prophet's done that. But then you got to know when to withdraw and be wise and use wisdom. We're going to go to Proverbs now. This is Proverbs 4:13. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. So this is the instruction, right? Enter not into the path of the wicked and go not in the way of evil men. So the instruction is the scriptures, right? And go not in the way of evil men. Baba Kasha. Avoid it. Pass not by it. So it says go not in the way of evil men. So we don't want to be doing that, right? It says pass by it. Hello,
Hello.
you're looking real colourful, you ladies.
Oh, thank you.
Plethora of different colours. Anyway, and it says enter not in the path of the wicked and go not in the way of evil men. So we're not supposed to be going in the way of evil men. It says pass from it. So when you see it, nope, I see what they're doing. Go the other way. Very simple, very basic scriptures. It's easy. Don't consent. Don't consent. All right. And it says, Baba Kashar, check this out. And go not in the way of evil men, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it and pass away, for they sleep not. There's certain people that can't sleep. Your so-called gangsters, they can't get to sleep. They're not getting a good sleep. Why? Because they're wicked. Except they have done mischief. So there's certain people, they can't get to sleep unless they've done some type of mischief or evil. And their sleep is taken away unless they cause something to fall. So there's people that they can't sleep unless they've done some mischief or hurt somebody else. You don't want to be around individuals like that. Unless they cause some to fall, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. And the way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not of what they stumble. So the path of the just, yeah, it's a shining light. Shining, gleaming, all right? That shines more and more unto that perfect day. So that's what we're supposed to be doing. Shining more and more and more. Not being more dim, shining. Scripture says in Matthew 5:14, let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. So we want to be able to glorify our Father, which is in heaven, Yahweh, why Yahweh shine, right? And that's the whole duty. Not to get sidestepped by all the things that are going on and distracted, right? Whatever the world's got going on, we don't have to take that on, right? Because again, that has nothing to do with us. That's not our mission, and that's not our purpose, right? Our purpose is to teach this word, and that's it. So we don't got to take on, right, other people's rubbish, right? We don't got to do that. We just got to stay within the confines of the scriptures, and that's it. Now we're gonna go to Ezekiel. Baba Kasha. Actually, before we go to Ezekiel, all right, let's go. This is Ecclesiastes 39. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High is occupied in the meditation thereof. So we have to give our mind to what? The law, right? The wisdom of the Most High is occupied in meditation. So we also can meditate. Take your time out to meditate thereof, and we'll seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. So we're supposed to be seeking out wisdom and being occupied with the prophecies, which means to say before. All right? And he would keep the sense of renowned men with Solomon, David, and where subtle parables are, and Yahushua, where subtle parables are, he will be there also. So the main thing is right now is prophecy, because there's a lot of things going on. If you've been watching the news, a lot of things. Go to 2 Ezra 15 and 13. A whole load of things going on in the news. And everything we see in the news, what do? We link it up with what? Prophecy, to see where we are. Baba Kishar, Baba Kishar. So we're also going to go to 2 Ezra 14. 13 and 14. Let go from thee Mortal thoughts, liable thoughts. How am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to deal with that? How are the children going to get food? Right? Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature. So what would the burdens of man be? The burdens of society. Right? Put off now the weak nature, because that's what leads a man to be weak. Liable thoughts. And it says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. Right? So the most heaviest thoughts that are weighing us down, put that aside. Put it aside, because it's not going to help. What's worrying going to do? It's just going to add to stress. And it says, and haste to flee from these times. You're supposed to be fleeing from these times, this age. Our minds are supposed to be somewhere else, in the heavens, man. While everybody's mind is here, our minds are supposed to be in the heavens, right? Now, it doesn't mean you disregard everything that's happening in the physical, because then you wouldn't look after yourself, all right? And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste to flee from these times. So that's what we've got to do, all right? Haste to flee from the times we are living in now. Okay. For yet shall greater evils than those which I have seen happen shall be done hereafter. So you ain't seen nothing yet. There's gonna be greater evils than what you're seeing now. Greater. And what's part of that? World War III. Right? Russia, Iran, North Korea. We're gonna get into it. This is Matthew 24 and 6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must have come to pass. By the end is not yet. So we were going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. But the end is not by and by. So we know the end ain't came yet, because there's certain prophecies that need to be implemented. The RFID chip. Before the RFID chip, martial law. Right? Restrictions. Then the RFID. Famine of the words. Then the RFID. Then World War III. That's how it's all going to be played out. There's an order to everything. That's why the end is not by yet. The end is not yet. These things need to happen first. All right? For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we were going to see these things, nation rising up against nation. Don't you see that now? You see that, right, with the Hamas. You see that with the Israelis. You see that with Russia. You see that with Ukraine. You see it with North Korea and China and so forth. You see all these things, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. This is all prophecy. This all ties into prophecy. All right? And you're going to have the final world war that's going to lead all the nations to stop fighting each other, and they're going to go to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is mentioned in Ezekiel 38 or 37. We can go to that as well. Because really, that's what it's going to lead to, where all nations are going to stop fighting each other, and they're going to come together with all one common goal. And the common goal is to fight against Yahushua and his anointed. That's going to be the common goal. So this thing's really, really, really going to boil down to who the elect are and who the elect ain't. All right? There's going to be a war. Yeah, we hear about World War III and so forth, where the nations turn on each other, but they're going to all come together in alliance, because that's the NWO. The NWO is basically all nations coming together, right? A conglomerate of nations. That's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna go to Ephesians, Ezekiel 38. Hold that right there. And we're gonna grab 2 Ezra 13 and 13. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Have I got that sheet with me? This is a sheet about 3-4 years ago. I got it right here. So it says, set thy face against Gog and Magog. Russia is Magog, right? Hebrew for Magawag. which is the region of the Caspian Sea. All right. So set thy face against Gog and Magog and the chief prince of Meshach. All right. Meshach from Tubal, which was the sons of, back then they were the sons of Japheth. Right. The Polynesians and the Pacific Islanders. All right. And the land of Magog and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So we're not just prophesying against America, we also prophesy against Russia. And say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Right? Which is basically Russia being controlled. If you have a hook in someone's jaw, that means you're controlling that movement. Like, say if you're fishing, you have a hook in a fish's jaw, you're controlling that fish's movement. And I will put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen. See, it says, I will bring thee forth. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, so as the rivers he turneth whithersoever he will, in Proverbs 21. It's the Lord jehoshaphat that's dictating all this war through his angels. All right? And it says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, meaning Russia turning back into that communist state, Cold War spirit. Oh, they're ready. Russia are so prepared, right? And their training is more in depth. Their training is more serious when it comes to, you know, I'm not saying America, they have a strong military, but also do Russia. Russia have a very, very strong military. And they've been buying missiles from 2016 upwards. ICBM missiles. One of the missiles are called Satan that Russia have. One of them missiles are called Satan. Right? And they've been given, Turkey, which is what? A member of the EU. Correct me if I'm wrong. Turkey's a member of the EU. So you got Russia, right? Given Turkey, which is a member of the EU, ICBM missiles, selling missiles. And India. Did you forget about that? 2016, 2018, they were selling India S-400 missiles. Okay. And it says, and all of them clothed with sorts of armor, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields. So it says a great company with bucklers and shield, that's armory. So Russia, they having the funding, they got the tanks, they got the military expertise, they got all of that stuff, man. Right? They got all of that stuff. They got the armory, they got missiles, they got GPS system, radar systems. They got all them things. And it says Persia is Iran. Right? When you look at Persia, it's Iran. Right? Persia, Ethiopia. So Russia's funding Persia, and Russia's also funding Ethiopia as well. So you got to understand, it's known as the BRIC nations. That's why they have these meetings, BRIC nations. And it says Baba Kashar. And Libya with them. So even Libya are joining Russia as well in that world war. See, Russia, they're doing a smart move right now. They're funding other third world nations to get on their side. Because in war, you want people on your side. And with them all, Baba Kashar, shield and helmet. Right? And Goma, when you look up Goma is the Black Sea, Georgia, Armenia, Turkey. So this is the whole region of the Caspian Sea. That whole region, man. So these nations, they getting stirred up for war right now. In a big way. That's what's happening, man. All right? Ignore all the distractions, man. Let's stay focused on this truth. And it says, fucking looking at me shifty. Bear me just a minute. We ain't got nothing to be scared about. Right? We're teaching this word. And it says, Baba Kashar, check this out. And all them with Hild and Shemet, Goma, and all his bands in the house of Togama. I've got this all written down. In the house of Togama, of the North Quarters, which is, the North Pacific region. The North represents Russia. the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Be prepared, prepare thyself. And thou thy company and that are assembled unto thee, and be a guard unto them. So these nations are set up to be a guard unto Russia. And that's what's gonna happen. Ooh, they're gonna be a guard. And this is where all these things are gonna happen, but then they're gonna stop fighting against each other. Right? Let me check the time, excuse me just a minute. Right? So they're all gonna be a guard unto Russia. Alright? So I went to that Baba Kushon now. We're gonna go to Revelation 17 and 16 and 16. And we're gonna go to Joel 3 and 14. Come on now. Alright, this is prophecy, man. This is prophecy. Alright? Don't worry about these dark ass spirits, man. Don't worry about them.
That's by the bath.
Very. So we're gonna go to Joel. Bear me just a minute. This is Joel. And I think we should start at 3. For behold, in those days, and at that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, and I will also gather all nations, I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. So all nations are being brought down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. They call it the valley of Kidron. That's what they call it. So all nations are going to be brought there, man, to the valley of Kidron. They call it the valley of tombs. This is where Absalom's tomb was. And it says, and I will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people. So the whole war is to plead for our people. That's what the whole war is based upon. Pleading for our people. Okay? Fucking wicked ass spirits, man. And it says, Baba Kushar, don't worry about these people, bro. They still want to come around us and do dumb stuff, man. That's why you got to stay focused on this word, man. I ain't even been out here for an hour and these people still want to play games. And it says, and I will plead with them there. Bro, I know it's my phone. I know my phone's been hacked. Central Intelligence probably, yeah, bro, we know that already, but don't even worry about that. And it says, and I will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among my nations and parted my land. So the Lord's going to what? Plead with his people. And who are the Lord's people? Israel. But who is he going to plead with? The nations. Plead means judge. That's why it's called Valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and parted my land. That's why when you go to Israel today, you have everybody in that land except from our own people, because it's been parted. It's been divided. So you got the Japanese there, you got the Falasha Jews there, you got Amalek there, because the land's been parted. The land's been divided. So that's why this war is brewing. Everything you see going on within that region of Israel, that's based on the children of Israel not in their land. All right? And it says, who have scattered among the nations and parted my land, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Yeah, what have I to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? So that's what they done. They sold us, man. Right? And it says, and if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and carried away into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Your children also of Judah, all right, key thing, of Judah, and the children of Jerusalem, you have sold unto the Grecians, Edomites, that you might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them. So now we're being raised out of the places that we have been sold, as you can see. And it says, Baba Kishar, and I will return your recompense upon your own head, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians and to a people far off. This is during our kingdom, for the Lord have spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. All right? Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. So the last thing you're going to be thinking about is declaring war on your own citizens. That's the last thing you're going to be thinking about. Declaring war upon citizens. Gang stalking is going to be a thing of the past real soon. Because you're not going to be able to do that when there's a full-blown war. You ain't going to be able to do that. So that's what you got to realize. It's going to get to that point. Gang stalking is going to be far, long, and gone. All right? Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha. Here comes the witches now. All right? Bear with it. And it says Baba Kusha. And, let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. What men? Russia, America, North Korea, Pakistan. Every nation's going to get involved. Every nation. All right? And it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. So the plowshares and also the swords and the pruning hooks, guess what they're for? They're for farming. This is how the third world nations will make their money. All right? But now they're spending that on military budgeting now. All right? Now they're spending it on military budgeting now. That's what they're spending it on. Okay. And it says, Baba Kishar, and assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. So all the nations now, I missed something. It says, let the weak say I'm strong. All right? Let the weak say I'm strong. So the weak, Pakistan, India, they're considered weak nations. But it says, let the weak say I am strong. So now they have military capabilities now. India have, don't you know India has a military? They have military capabilities. Don't you know they have ICBMs? They have military capabilities now. All right? And once upon a time, these nations, they didn't have that. But now their budget, which went on farming and agriculture, has now went on military because they know there's going to be a war. You wouldn't do that unless there's a war. And it says, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about where the valley. Therefore cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Jehoshaphat. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew. For there would I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So that whole region is going to be the final place of judgment for the nations. All right? Many people, they read the scriptures, but you ask them about the valley of Jehoshaphat, they can't tell you, where is it? What is it? Which we all have different levels of understanding. Put ye in a sickle, for the harvest is ripe. So when you're putting in a sickle, it's for wine, right? You're gathering the wine press, for the harvest is ripe. What's the harvest? It's the people. It's the nations. Right? Come, get you down, for the press is full. Right? And the fats overflow, the blood of the nations. For their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision. Multitudes. Right? Yeah, it says multitudes in the valley of decision. So there's going to be multitudes of people in that valley. And you know what it says? Decision. That's where that final decision is going to be made. Right? Let me check this. Is this still? Yeah, still recording. Yeah. That's where that final decision is going to be made, man. This is very serious stuff we're talking about. The sun and the moon and the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The sun and the moon also represents your witches, your warlocks, your prognosticators. They're not going to be able to give you any signs or instruct you, because you do know the people in this society, even the elites, they get their instructions by witches and warlocks and stargazers. That's who they get their instructions from. If you know when an event is set up, like it could be a stadium event, a carnival, or I don't know, a festival. You know there's witches that stage them. You know that, right? Even when you go to transport, you know the transport, when you catch a transport, you know there's high-level witches behind them. You know that, right? In terms of time, because they deal with numerology as well. You know that, right? But they're going to lose their power. That's why it says the sun and the moon shall be darkened and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And that's going to happen in the physical sense as well. because it's going to be very dark when their missiles hit, and there's going to be a lot of fires as well. It's going to block out a lot of smoke. It's going to block out the sun. Right? Daytime's going to seem like nighttime. And also, right? The Lord shall also roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord Jehoshaphat will be the hope of his people. So it says the Lord's going to roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. The earth's going to shake to and fro. It talks about that in, I think it's Isaiah 24. Excuse me just a minute. Ooh. Isaiah 24. Behold, the Lord Jehoshaphat maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth the inhabitants thereof abroad. So the earth's going to be shaking to and fro. Right? And there's more, Baba Kishore. So shall you know that I am the Lord your power, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall be no strangers pass through her anymore. This is all a part of prophecy, man. I hope this is edifying. And we're also going to go to Revelations 16 and 16 as well. This is what you should be worried about. You should be worried about, well, you know what? I understand you're worried about the prophets, but you really shouldn't be worried about what we're doing. You should be worried about World War III and the impending danger that we're warning you about. That's what you should be concerned about. That's what you should be worrying about. Not no group of lads teaching the Bible, because we're warning you of the things to come. Really, you should thank us. This is what you got to be getting prepared for. But here it is. You got governments declaring war on their own citizens, rather than dealing with matters abroad. It'd be interesting to find out when I was put on this program as well, on whose watch, on what politician's watch was I put on the program. That'd be interesting to find that out as well. That'd be interesting. Was it Sadiq Khan's watch? Right? Was it Boris Johnson's watch? It'd be interesting to find out on whose watch was I put on the program. But that's another lesson in itself. Anyway, let's stick to this. Right? The truth's gonna come out anyway. Let's go to Revelation 16. Right? And I think we should start at 14. For they are spirits of devils, working miracles, and that goes to all the leaders which go forth unto the kings of the earth, kings, rulers. So they all have that same demonic hive mind, demonic spirit. And the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of the God Almighty. Gather them to that great day on that battle of the God Almighty, to that valley of Jehoshaphat. Right? And it says, behold, I come as a thief. Right? Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them together in a place called, in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. Armageddon. Right? Which means valley of troops. Well, because there's going to be a whole lot of troops there, bro. It's going to happen. We don't know if it's 4 years, 3 years, could be 2 years. You're going to start seeing domino effects. We're going to we're seeing it now. Every day on the news, there's something big happening. Always. This is all a part of prophecy, man. All a part. All a part of that prophecy. So we went to that. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So we went to Joel. We went to Revelations. All a part of prophecy. So we went to that. Go to Psalms. Now we're going to go to... Second Ezra 13 and 13. This is Second Ezra 13th chapter. All right? And it says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. So this was a vision that Ezra's had. All right? And lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. So it says a wind from the sea, that it moves all the waves thereof. So that wind represents Yahweh Shai. And it said that moved all the waves thereof, the nations, right? And the sea. But the sea ain't talking about the waters in terms of water sea. The sea is talking about the heavens. So you have to get into words what they mean, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, the Messiah, he's going to come out of the sea, out of the waters. They're heavens. And there is waters in the heavens, which is the clouds, by the way. And it moved all the waves thereof. I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Who's that man? That man is Yahweh Shai. He waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. Strong. Right? What's the thousands of heaven? The angels. Reads, I think it's Psalm 68 and 15. Right? And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. Turn his countenance. So imagine I'm looking at the ground and there's a colony. All things trembled underneath him. It says all things. Right? So that's the great power of our Lord Yahweh by Sham Yahweh Shai. All things trembled. Right? That were seen under him. And it says, Baba Kishar, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Right? That's why when you go to Thessalonians, it talked about shall destroy with the spirit of his mouth a devouring fire. The spirit of his. So all we need to do is just speak the words, and things were happening. And it says, Baba Kishar, and whensoever his voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth feareth when it feareth the fire. So while he was speaking, there was people getting burnt by his word. And after this I beheld, and physically burnt. Yeah, it was by the word, but physically it was happening. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of a number. Right? Multitudes in the valley of decision. From the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. It says from the four winds of heaven to subdue that man that came out from the sea. We're heavens. So they're going to try to subdue. You know how Esau's a power-hungry idiot? How he tries to control. Esau, the elites, they want to control the Messiah. Bro, are you crazy? Are you crazy? That's they try to subdue. All right? Him. All right? There was a gathered together a multitude subdue that man that came out of the sea, the heavens. And this is why they got they do have a space program, by the way. Yeah? To try to fight against the Messiah and his angels. But I beheld, and they spent more than $1 million, they spent billions on them. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. All right? Key thing, a great mountain. Excuse me just a minute. Key thing, a great mountain. All right? And it says, Baba Kishar, and flew upon it. So that great mountain, it wasn't actually a mountain, it was a chariot. So this is how Ezra's described this particular thing that he saw. It was like a chariot. All right? That's what it was like. It says a great mountain, because it was described like a chariot. All right? And flew upon it. Because you can't fly up on a mountain, it's a chariot. And it says, but I would have seen the region or place where if the hill was graven and I could not. So he couldn't see the ends of it because the chariot was that big. Morning there, you okay? The chariot was that big. So that's what you got to understand. Okay? He could not see the end of it or the beginning. Okay? This is prophecy. This is the visions that the prophets had. Okay? And it says, Baba Kishar, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men of number from the four winds of heaven. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself with a great mountain and flew upon it. Whew. But I would have seen the region or place where if the hill was graven, I could not. That's how big this chariot was. Whew. All right? And it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, they were which were gathered together to subdue him, they were shook. We're talking about expertise, military men. It says they were afraid. And yet does fight. So they were afraid, but yes, they're commanded to fight because they're in a war, they have to take orders. Right? And no, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. So he didn't even need to lift up a finger, leave a hand. He was just looking, like War of the Worlds, he just looking and just speaking things and all this happening. Because the Lord's coming back as an angelic power now. Whew. But only I saw that he had sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, right? Keeping fire, right? And out of his lips a flaming breath. So there was fire and a flaming breath which devoured. And out of his tongue he cast out sparks, electricity, and tempest, waters. And they were all mixed together. And the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden and innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. Woo. There was no recognition of the body. It was vaporized. When I saw this, I was afraid. So these armies that are going to all come together to war against Yahushua, they're going to get disintegrated. He said nothing was to be perceived but smoke. Nothing. Right? Nothing. Afterward, I saw the same man come down from the mountain, from that chariot, right? And call unto him another peaceable multitude. So that peaceable multitude would represent the elect. Key thing. Peaceable multitude. The elect. Right? There came much people unto him, where some are glads. Right? The elect shall be glad. It tells you that in Daniel 12:2. Some shall wake up to everlasting shame, and some to wake up to everlasting life. All right? And it says some were sorry, some of them were bound. All right? Which means those that were bound were the elect, because they're going to be bound up. Another some brought of them that were offered, the offered would be the martyrs, because Paul did say that are ready now, ready to be offered. So you also had martyrs within the faith. When was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said. So a lot of the prophets, when they saw certain things, it made them sick. When they saw these visions, they felt sick. Or they felt tired. There's different descriptions of different prophets, man. That's why a lot of the times it would say the burden of Isaiah, the burden of this, the burden of Malachi. The prophecies were burdens. It weighed them down. When you're going into visions and prophecies, that weighs on your spirit. When you're able to foresee what's going to happen in the future, that weighs down your spirit. That weighs down your spirit. Imagine that. You could see what's going to happen in the future. You can see that. Prophecies, that's why it was said, covet to prophesy. That's why the scriptures say that. Covet to prophesy. All right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. Prophesying. Right? Coveting to prophesy. Right? And it says, Babakashah, that has showed thy servant these wonders. Whew, from the beginning.
The first line is good because there's a lot of flight.
All right? You have showed thy servants these things. So you can imagine being shown all these things in the spirit. You imagine that. You have showed thy servant these things and wonders from the beginning, and has counted me worthy, that I should have received my prayer. This is not a light thing. Right? Show me now the interpretation of this dream, for as I conceive in my understanding, woe to them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe to them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days. Now I understand the things that are laid up in the latter days, the end days. Bro, that's you actually know what's gonna happen. That's not a light thing. That's why our minds are so different, man. You know what I'm saying? Now I understand the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them and to those that are left behind. Therefore they come into great perils and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Right? Yet it's easier for him that is in danger to come on into these things than to pass away, as a cloud out of the world. and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, the interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself, that they that be fallen into the danger are such as have works, and have faith towards the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision, whereas thou sawest a man coming out from the midst of the sea, so he breaks it down. The same is he whom the God has of the highest have kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his own creature, all right, creation, and he shall order them that are left behind. All right. And whereas I sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind and fire and a storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come. Key thing. Right? When the Most High will begin to deliver them. Right? That are upon the earth. Babakashah. And it shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Whew, the surprisement. And one shall undertake to fight against another. So you're going to have skirmishes and fightings and wars. And one realm against another. So there's going to be different realms. Different realms are different worlds. All right? One place against another. One people against another. One realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass. And the signs shall happen which I have showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared. So once these things happen, the son, Yahushua, is going to be declared unto the world. All right? All right, this is heavy. Whom thou sawest as a man ascending, rising, and he's going to come back descending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have once against another. So this shows you the world nations, yeah, they're going to be battling, warring against, they're going to leave and come together. They're all going to get together. All right? And a innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as a service them, willing to come, right, and overcome him by fighting. Bro, so you mean to tell me that the nations now that you see, they're going to be declaring war on Yahushua and trying to fight against the angels, right? And it says, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. It's not going to happen. Bro, you really think you could fight against God? But he shall stand up on the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and he shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this is my son. This my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions, idolatries, altars, everything that's wicked of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and their torments, wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. Right? It's going to happen. Which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the Lord, which is like unto a fire. Whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude, it says peaceable multitude unto him. Right? So yeah, there was gathered a peaceable multitude, which we went into. See, I love it how the Lord broke down his interpretations for his elect. That's one thing he always done. Broke down the interpretations. And it says, check this out. And whereas thou sawest, he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him. And so, I think we stop off there because it's going into something else. But you see how Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, right? It's going to be warring, right, against the armies. And the armies are going to be warring against him. But guess who's going to win? Yahushua. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Right? It's a done deal. Right? So I hope this lesson was edifying. And I got some work to do, so I better get off now. Get away from the paparazzi. And until the next time, shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Shalom.